Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:07 on this Tuesday morning. Let me just pause for a moment. Usually we'll tell you all about traffic and weather every 10 minutes first on the fives. Can I just pause for a moment? Julie, do you mind if I pause for a moment? Can I pause and disrupt our normal programming?
Please do, Larry.
Just to
Anything
make
to
an
move
announcement.
on.
It is I don't need to start our 4-hour time together here with that kind of attitude. Just go with me. This is great.
Try. All right. What's going on?
It's 5:07 a.m.
Yeah.
And it is 50 degrees out.
I know.
Could we just bask in this for a moment? How fabulous is that?
Pretty fabulous.
It's 50 degrees. As you wander out to the car today, you're not going to have to look like an Eskimo, and that's good.
And you're
coming
not
up at 7:05.
And I'll just say, and you don't have to sit there for 10 minutes to let your car warm up.
That's right.
Pull right out.
Exactly. As the tears trickle down your cheek, wondering, why didn't I move to Naples, Florida? Why? Not that I've done that before. Eli Lake is going to join us at 7:05, talk about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the first foreign leader to visit President Trump. 7:35, Nick Minnock of Channel 7 on some more outrages in the Arlington school system, following up on that dude who was exposing himself to children at the total permission and blessing of the Arlington County School Board. 8:05, Don Bentley is an Army Apache helicopter. He wants to talk about a lot of the things that are being said about this pilot of the Black Hawk involved in the D.C. plane crash. And then at 8:35, Samantha Jo Roth covering Congress for the Examiner. That's Julie Gunlock, as previously stated, and I am Larry O'Connor. And we're both wearing sort of like, I'm in my Bermuda shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. And Julie, of course, reliving her 90s, enjoying
you're the worst.
dressing up like Rachel and Friends because of her new haircut. And that's a nice outfit. You look like you work at Central Perk. Are you and Ross ever going to get together?
Enough with the haircut.
I should
Enough
probably stop. I know.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing about like work rules and things that you're not allowed to say to your coworkers. Like, men are never allowed to say, "Oh, I like your new haircut," or "Oh, is that a new dress? I really like your dress."
Allowed?
Men are no. Oh no. Oh,
really?
I have
Is that
watched
the
all of
rule?
my training. No. You're not allowed to say any of those
Well,
things.
you can say it to me.
But on the radio, I can say whatever the hell I want. I am the only person working for this company who actually has speech in the workplace right now. Because they can always say, hey, it was a bit.
It was a bit.
It was a bit.
Yeah, well, thank you. But we don't need to talk about my haircut anymore.
And objectively speaking, Julie's new haircut does make her look like Rachel on Friends.
It does not. God, you're so
That was a really
mean.
popular trend. Remember when all the women were getting their haircut like Rachel? And you're just like 30 years late is all. That's all.
I did not get the Rachel. I did not get the Rachel. It just has more layers. It just says stop.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about the cast of Sex and the City earlier, and so
Yes.
I'm just reliving my whole 90s television sort of situation. We will get to that a little later. I don't want you to think we were having a private conversation about Sex and the City, and we're not going to share it with you. Of course we
Right,
will.
of course.
Because Cynthia Nixon
Is a lunatic.
The ginger on the show, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, she is a lunatic. She's an absolute lunatic.
She shouldn't
and
be around children.
Participated in a pro-trans march in New York because, they're invisible. Right. Honestly, for an oppressed, invisible minority, they are constantly in my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
yesterday
if only they were invisible.
The Daily Mail had a headline, about Meryl Streep's daughter.
Yes.
Talks
the
about
struggle
the
of coming out
as a lesbian. And I wrote on Twitter, I was like, the 70s called, and they want their struggle back. I mean, what?
Right.
What? Coming out as straight is the struggle these days.
Yes, she had such a struggle coming out as a lesbian, and she's the daughter of a popular Hollywood movie star.
Right.
It's like, okay, so I guess we've learned now that Meryl Streep is a monster.
Yes, exactly.
That's
also,
the only explanation.
The pictures
there.
that accompanied the article, she's on red carpet, she's on vacation. Yeah, tough life.
I don't think we should make carpet allusions in the context of this topic.
Larry.
Let's give everybody a follow-up now on the tariff threats against Canada and Mexico. When last we left you, Donald Trump had a threat holding out there. It was, I think, tariffs will be enacted by the end of the day today, if I remember right. Not anymore. I'm speaking in the past tense because within hours of this show going off the air, the president of Mexico announced that she was beginning a brand new initiative to bolster the border and protect the American-Mexican border. Let's not forget, this is a border that goes both ways. You know, everybody thinks that you only have a obligation to protect a border from people coming into your country. No, you have an obligation to protect your border of people fleeing your country too, right, as they have been in Mexico. And if anything, Mexico has been helping. Well, now they're going to deploy 10,000 troops to the U.S. border. They're also going to do more in anti-drug interdiction efforts, and I think written between the lines is they're going to surreptitiously allow for American military to operate in their country on a covert basis to try to stop some of these drug cartels, because the Mexican government and military are not capable of actually stopping. I think that half of the Mexican government, in my opinion, are in bed with these drug cartels. But the deal was made, and I love this. There is a 1-month pause on the tariffs. The Trump said, okay, that's great. So in that case, we'll delay the tariffs for a month. And the president of Mexico is probably like, wait a minute, no tariffs.
Right.
And Trump's like, no.
We're going to
test. We're going to
you.
see.
Yes.
Let's see
Yes.
how it goes. We might
Yes.
need more.
Right.
We're going to put it on pause.
Yes.
So that was solved by like 10 in the morning, I think, yesterday. And then, meanwhile, later in the day, Justin Trudeau took to the Everything app platform to make his announcement. He was all saber rattling and threatening, and he sent that Canadian Karen out to say, "Guys, cut it out!
Cut it out!
You're really hurting our feelings."
It reminded me of Kamala's "Don't come."
Yes,
right?
do not come.
Like, cut it out.
Do not come.
But mostly to say to our American neighbors, guys, just cut it out.
There it is. Cut it out is the best part of it. Well, now she's saying, I'm sorry, because Justin Trudeau at 4 p.m. yesterday, I just had a good call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion border plan. My favorite part is it's our $1.3 billion border plan. Oh, really? Was it your plan?
Yes.
Was it your plan? I think it was written for you, and you decided to adopt it. $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. Isn't it amazing that both Mexico and Canada came up with this solution that there would be 10,000 either troops or, as Justin Trudeau puts it, frontline personnel working on the border. They're also appointing a fentanyl czar and will list cartels as terrorists to ensure 24/7 eyes on the border. And they're backing the fentanyl program with an additional $200 million. That's a total of $1.5 billion Canadian dollars. So the exchange is a little weird there, but still a firm commitment from the new governor of Canada, Justin Trudeau, actually outgoing governor.
That's right.
Of Justin Trudeau.
Could he leave
and
already?
so Trump announced that those tariffs are on a pause for 1 month as well. So seems like it worked, everybody.
Seems like it. More winning.
What I love about it, by the way, is that the Mexico announcement came after 4 straight hours of Joe and Mika screaming, chaos! This president is chaos! He's threatening our neighbors, and it's chaos, chaos! And then in the middle of MSNBC program, they had to break in and say, this just in, the president of Mexico has decided to respond to the chaos. It's 5:15, WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes first on the 5s. Jamie Whitten. Is it chaos out there? It's warm, Jamie. Everyone's enjoying the warm weather. They're putting the top down on their way in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Respect and trust your home with Valor. Visit valorhome.com.
So the tariffs would have gone into effect at midnight just 5 hours ago. They did not. The 25% tariffs, that is in Canada and Mexico, they're on a 1-month pause. However, we do have some tariffs to tell you about, I guess. Technically, I mean, it's not like we have a tariff countdown clock anywhere in the federal government, although I wouldn't put it past them just to ump the ante on the drama. But technically speaking, as of midnight, just 5 hours ago, tariffs have been now enacted with China, 10% tariffs in China. They did not strike any deal yesterday, and so our number one trading partner I don't know. Actually, that's not true. Canada, I guess, technically is our number one trading partner, I think. But major trading partner, China. Sure. Now there is a 10%, generally speaking, and China then retaliated against the U.S., putting tariffs on Chinese imports. That's supposed to take effect yesterday as well. 15% tariffs on U.S. coal, liquefied natural gas, and a bunch of new export restrictions and antitrust investigations into Google, according to the Chinese government. Okay. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I think most people in this country have, and a lot of leaders in this country have been warning about how much we import. I think we import around $400 billion worth of goods from China. It's not insignificant, and we import medicines, we import technology, we import things that are very important. And so I think, I'm really glad to see Doge doing what it is, and I hope that there's accountability and savings from that. But I really do hope that one of the priorities of the Trump administration is to become more self-reliant for some of these very important imports that we bring in from China. This stuff makes me nervous.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone's screaming about the fact that, maybe their iPhone is going to cost 10% more or even more than 10% more because all of the iPhones are being made in China,
let's produce that
Apple
stuff here.
should have a contingency plan.
Right,
yeah.
right.
They can make it here. They can make it in more friendlier countries. They can make it in Indonesia. They can make it in the Philippines if they're, absolutely sold on making things in Asia. But ultimately, listen, this is, whether it's a rip the Band-Aid off kind of way or whether it's a slow matriculation, things need to change with our reliance on manufacturing everything in China, partly because it just doesn't make economic sense for us to have so much of our industry reliant upon one communist country's slave labor, all right? Which brings us to the second reason, and that is morality and ethics. I'm sorry, I hate to sound like a Pollyanna. I love to be a free trader and put my Jack Kemp green eye shade on and just say, economics is all that matters. But actually there is some things more important than economics. And yes, it's great to have things built cheap in China. Why is it so cheap? Why is labor so cheap there? Ask yourself that question and start investigating it, and you will not like the answer. And if America stands for something, we should stand for something more than just cheap electronic products and T-shirts.
Yeah,
for that matter.
And these
yes, T-shirts at Walmart's are super cheap right now. Guess what? If they're made in the Philippines or made in Mexico or if they're made in North Carolina, they're not going to be that much more expensive. Honestly.
Right. I mean, I think about all that clothing that comes from those Chinese companies, Temu and Shine and Alibaba. These are all competitors to Amazon, right? And Amazon also, sells Chinese-made products. One thing to keep in mind, not exactly high quality. You buy something from these, you wear them once or twice, and they go in the garbage. So, it might cost a little bit more, but I suspect that the quality will be better if it's not produced.
What's interesting, I think people will be surprised to learn it's like, they're putting a tariff on imports from America. It's not like we send so much over to China.
Yeah.
Well, we do send stuff over to China. We don't send them cheap electronics, and we don't send them T-shirts. We do send them crude oil. We do send them vehicles, major machinery. We actually do send quite a bit over there, and they're big-ticket items. And if China is going to levy a tariff on those things, okay. It's your funny thing about crude oil. It's a global commodity, right? And if China wants to put an extra 10% on it as it goes into their nation and they decide that that's going to screw them up and not purchase American oil and they want to purchase it from the Saudis or some other country, funny thing, as American oil starts to get more expensive because of the tariffs in China, the global companies are going to respond with that as well. It's not just going to be a one-size-fits-all situation. That's American oil? No, it doesn't work that way on the global market, number one. And number two, those countries that they could buy oil from, they're doing business with us. And if they need to take sides on the global stage, well, it might be interesting to see if they take China's side or America's side. My bet is right now people want to do business with us. But we'll see how it all comes down. It's 5:23.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:36. It's O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in here this Tuesday morning, the 4th day of February. We're going to make it worth your while, I promise, because coming up at 7:05, Eli Lake from the Free Press is going to join us, talk about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visiting with Donald Trump. Did you see he also posed with a Nazi? That's weird. Why would the Prime Minister of Israel pose with Elon Musk, that famous Nazi? And there's something wrong there. 7:35, Nick Minnock of WJLA on the sex offender guy who exposed himself to children in that Arlington High School locker room at the total permission and bequest of the Arlington County School Board. 8:05, Don Bentley, Army Apache helicopter. He's also the co-author of the latest Mitch Rapp series of books, Capture or Kill. And then at 8:35, Samantha Jo Roth covering Congress for the Examiner, as we see more votes coming down for cabinet members, including, it looks like Tulsi Gabbard's got the votes now.
Looks like
Amazing.
it. Yeah.
Turn of events. Well, let's see. Let's see. I'll hold my breath until I see that one go through. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Jules, how are you?
Good morning. Doing well.
Well, I feel like I've been giving you a hard time, and I'm going to be nice to you now. I actually got a couple of text messages saying, leave Rachel alone. So the governor of New Jersey, this is a weird flex. The governor of New Jersey, you know, he wants to be president. Phil Murphy does.
Sure. Yeah.
They all do. Governors all think they can be president.
They do.
And so he's kind of being outdone here by Gretchen Whitmer and by the governor of Massachusetts, whose name escapes me, and Jabba the Hutt Pritzker there in Illinois. Yeah. Oh, isn't that what the JB stands for? Jabba?
Oh, stop. And
I think
also
that's right.
Tim Walz, who apparently is, still thinking he has a chance.
Sure. Tim Walz. He should be the leading
absolutely.
contender for the Democrat nomination for president.
And Gavin,
They've
of course.
They've all been flexing. Yes, Gavin Newsom. They've been flexing about how they're going to stop Trump and stop Tom Homan's ICE from deporting illegal immigrants in their states. They keep saying that. Well, Phil Murphy gets with his political advisors and say, we gotta outdo them. We gotta one up them.
Yeah.
And Phil Murphy, in his brilliance, decided, I've got it. I'm going to say that I'm harboring an illegal immigrant and sheltering them in my home, forget about sanctuary cities and states.
No.
I'm going to turn the governor's mansion into a sanctuary.
Yes.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free and send them to the governor's mansion in New Jersey.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. So here's Phil Murphy making this extraordinary claim. Cut one.
The governor of New Jersey practically daring the agency to come to his own home. Democratic Governor Phil Murphy declared on Saturday that he and the First Lady are allowing someone pursuing legal status to stay at their home. The governor a little vague on this, but the bold admission came at an event during a broader discussion about the policies of the new Trump administration. Here is the governor. Listen.
Tammy and I were talking about, I don't want to get into too much detail, but there's someone in our broader universe whose immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. And we said, you know what, let's have her live at our house above our garage.
Above our garage.
And good luck to the feds coming in to try to get her.
I mean, we don't want we don't want the
best.
maid in the house, okay?
Exactly.
We don't want to mix that closely with the riffraff, but we'll put her above the garage.
You have like an apartment above the garage? Well, we refer to it as the quarters.
Yeah, the New Jersey First Lady is like, look, there are toilets to clean, okay? And if they deport her,
Gavin
let's
Newsom
just
calls
stuff her in the garage.
Gavin calls and says, Phil, the rest of us just refer to them as the help, okay? just do this right.
I love how he's like, well, she hasn't gotten her immigration status to the point that she would like it to be. Oh, is that called illegal? Why don't you just save your words? It's called illegal.
She's not completely right with the law, let's just say. All right, so later in the evening, Sean Hannity has Tom Homan on and brings this up, and the rest is just absolute poetic beauty. Cut to.
Well, I think the governor's pretty foolish saying what he said, because I got note of it, won't let it go. We'll look into it, and if he's knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien, that's a violation of Title 8 United States Code 1324. I would seek prosecution, or the secretary would seek prosecution. So maybe he's bluffing. If he's not, we'll deal with that. And as far as suing sanctuary cities, well, get in line because the Trump administration is going to do that already. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. There's one example, right? If the young sanctuary cities in New York City, if they would have gave us over the killer of Laken Riley when he got arrested in New York City for endangering a child, he would have been in jail. And he would have never killed Laken Riley. Sanctuary cities are responsible for deaths of thousands of young children throughout my career.
So Tom Homan says, okay, fine, we'll go to the governor's house and we'll get him. So here's the best part. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And please have cut, what was it, 2A? Was it the shortcut there of the governor? If you could have that, 1A, have that 1A. Standing by. So the New York Post calls Governor Murphy's press people and say, could you elaborate on this and give us more details about this illegal immigrant that is currently living over the garage of the governor's house? And the spokesperson for the governor says, well, the governor's been misinterpreted here. Absolutely misinterpreted. Everyone's taking this the wrong way.
Sure.
And this situation is not the case. There is not an undocumented immigrant without legal status living in the governor's garage. So he's been misinterpreted. Could we hear this again, please? 1A.
Talking about, I don't want to get into too much detail, but there's someone in our broader universe whose immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. And we said, you know what, let's have her live at our house above our garage.
So that's misinterpreted, Julie.
Yeah.
People heard that and leapt to the conclusion that he had an illegal immigrant living in his home because that's what he said.
You know, this is cocktail party talk, right? Phil Murphy just got himself in trouble using cocktail party talk because liberals, they go to these cocktail parties and they talk about their, cleaning lady or their yard worker who, or someone that they know, and they're so brave that they're harboring these illegal aliens, and then he said it on TV and now he's in trouble and now he's going to back it off.
And now it's our fault for misinterpreting.
Right, exactly.
The representative of the governor, I love this, after hearing exactly what you just said, Murphy was referring to a legal resident who is in his circle of friends and was worried about Trump's return to the White House. So, of course, instead of the governor saying, well, there's nothing to worry about if you're a legal representative, instead he fed into this whole thing. Here's my favorite part. No one has ever lived in the governor's home under the circumstances the governor described. So, in other words, the governor lied.
Liar.
What a weirdo. Which, by the way, I think does make him the front runner for the Democrat nomination.
Exactly.
It's 544. The interesting thing going on in the media right now in terms of the language they use to employ describing what's going on with the executive branch and the President of the United States, that would be Donald Trump, the duly elected, overwhelmingly elected by the American people, President of the United States, trying to get a handle on various aspects of the executive branch of our government, figure out what the hell's going on, putting a freeze on certain grants and funding, going into various departments and examining whether the appropriate personnel are in place to carry out the president's agenda. The things that any new CEO would do of a major corporation that they're taking control of, that we expect a president to come in and make all of these determinations, right? And specific to firing people, like firing FBI agents or firing attorneys at the Justice Department, who not only the president doesn't have confidence that they're going to be able to carry out his agenda, but actually has every reason to believe that these FBI agents and attorneys at the Justice Department are actively working against the new president.
Right.
He's firing them, or he's putting them on notice that they need to leave, right? 100% within his rights, by the way. So here's the language being used. Are you ready? Here's Vox. Vox?
Oh, yeah.
Vox is a, liberal propaganda outfit there. Here's the headline. The Trump administration is preparing a remarkable power grab over the federal law enforcement agency. Speaking of the FBI. The Trump administration with a power grab. So it's a funny way to describe winning an election as a power grab. It's a funny thing to describe assuming the office you've been elected to and actually exercising the executive powers that you have as a power grab.
Well,
who do these people think they are?
It's funny that Vox writes this headline and doesn't understand what they've written. It says the Trump administration. Okay, that's the executive branch. The Trump administration is preparing a remarkable power grab over the federal law enforcement agency. I mean,
right.
Can you reread? Honestly, if this were a child, I would say reread what you're saying. You're saying
right.
the executive
it's a federal
branch,
agency.
the executive branch is preparing a also remarkable. This is well, actually, it is remarkable, but power grab over the agencies that they're supposed to be in charge of. So
right.
it's not.
Right.
It's actually regaining control. The headline should write, the Trump administration is preparing an effort to regain control over rogue federal law enforcement agencies. That's the headline. Right. That's the news.
Which, by the way, that brings us to the other use of language. They keep calling this a coup. Coup, this unbelievable coup.
Right.
Donald Trump was elected president, and now he's engineering a coup over the permanent political class and the bureaucratic state, the deep state, whatever you want to call them. The coup occurred when these employees believed that they were in charge and could do whatever they want, regardless of who wins the election. That's literally the coup.
What we are seeing through DOJ's investigation into USAID is that the left and these leftist apparatuses, they are funded. They are actually funded by the federal government. Now, if we were to reverse this, okay, it would be as if we looked into it. Let's say the tables were turned, and it was the right, okay, that was funded by these federal agencies. It would literally be like the U.S. federal government is handing out huge checks to the Heritage Foundation. How would people react to that? Okay, I mean, we literally have what Elon Musk has revealed here is that the government is funding left-wing political agencies and independent nonprofits.
And they think they're free of any oversight or any control or don't have to answer to the president, who literally runs the executive branch. So Julie and I are going to break this down for you. We've got tons of experience in this field. She has way more than I, but we know how to do this. So let me just help you out. Anyone in the media, Democrats, liberals, people who are in the deep state, especially you Republicans, employees of the government who work for any agency under the executive branch, you work for the President of the United States, not the other way around. You're welcome. It's 5:53.